Okay, hello everyone and welcome to Formula Racing League TV. You're here with myself, Gogs Brown, and I'm in the commentary booth to bring to you the action from the finale of Taco Tuesday Season 18. This is the finale. We're here at the Hungaroring and we have got a mega grid lined up for this evening. We have got the drivers from the top tier, the Pro tier, and the drivers from the Pro-Am tier, that's tier 3, on the same circuit this evening. One of the trickier circuits on the calendar to overtake on. And we are in for a fantastic 90-minute showdown. The Hungaroring, of course, notoriously difficult for overtaking. And of course, the drivers will need to navigate each other and the other class on circuit as well. A true test and challenge and a fantastic place for our showdown. The weather we're expecting this evening, 27 degrees right now. It's going to be roughly the same for the race. We're currently watching the final minutes of free practice before the drivers have an opportunity to set qualifying laps to decide the order of the grid. We do have a split qualifying model this evening. The Pro drivers will go in the final 10 minutes of qualifying, whereas the Pro-Am drivers will take the first 10 minutes of qualifying. You can see there on the right hand side of the screen the schedule we have tonight. The race itself will be a 90-minute race with 2 mandatory pit stops. On those pit stops the drivers must take fuel on board. The last time we had that race here at Formula Racing League, it was Johnny Sharp in the silver tier who took the win after, quite frankly, a fantastic pit stop strategy where he was able to come out ahead in the final moment of that race and hold on to that lead at Suzuka. That was 2 races ago. The Silver Championship is running concurrently as well at the same circuit. That was a very close championship there as well, but we're going to come back to that in a second, and we will find out how they got on this evening also. But we'll have a quick look at the current championship standings, at least as they stand with these 2 tiers just now. So in the Pro-Am category, that is the drivers with the red numbers on the left hand side of your screen there. So M. Dunn, Yannick Gerling, Adrianov, winner at Monza last time out. Verith, all with the red back plates. There will be, they're denoted by the red plates, and the Pro drivers are denoted by the white plates. So such as De Bont, Van der Waal and Cassier. So the Pro-Am Championship sees Daniel Starkloff, who's just joined the server there in his Limoncello Ferrari. Starkloff is leading the Pro-Am Championship. And he's just joined us in the chat as well. How are you doing? Good luck this evening. Starkloff on 157 points. He has finished no lower than 8th place this season. So I expect him to be near the front of his tier. 2 points behind, we've got Jochen Verith on 155 points and Alexei Adrianov on 148 points in the big old Bentley. Those are the championship challengers this evening. Rustam Guzyanov, who's currently leading the AM class P5 in practice. He's been a bit hot and cold this season. Did not finish first, 7th and 9th on 146 points. So he's just behind and keeping the drivers at the top honest. In the Pro category, Damien van der Waal has a massive lead and I think has all but won the championship. 161 points next to Adam Sharp in 2nd place, who has finished 4th every single race this season apart from last time out at Monza, where he was involved in a couple of big incidents. Ended up taking P12. He's on 148 points, and in 3rd place Alessio Falconelli is on 145 points. Axel Cassier on 142 and Wouter Heymans just keeping touch along with Luke Prentice on 138 points. Steve Caruana cannot win the championship, but he's just behind in P6 on 136. Then we have Andrea Fapoli on 132, Jack Prentice on 129, and Jeffrey Godefroy on 120 points. That's the current championship orders just now, so keep an eye in this race. What can we expect? We've got Francis de Bont, very, very quick driver, Axel Cassier, Damien van der Wal and Adam Sharp all be contending for the win. Rustam Guzhinov is doing a fantastic job at securing himself a place in the pro category this season, and he's proven it with this practice time of only 0.3 of a second behind de Bont. So expect to see Guzhinov maybe in amongst those pro tier drivers tonight. That will give him a little bit of a buffer. Will the pro drivers be desperately trying to get around him, or will they play the sensible game here? Only time will tell. A new challenge for all the drivers this evening is of course the lapping traffic. Having to navigate drivers off the opposite tier. The drivers have been read the riot act this evening to treat it all very respectfully. But of course, as in sim racing, as in real life, it never is as it seems. And we expect to see some borderline controversial moments as the race goes on. So in the Pro-Am category, Guzhinov, Dunn and Gerling look to be the quickest just now. Owen Harris with his last race with Formula Racing League for quite some time tonight, currently sitting 4th in class. That would be good if he's able to maintain that. Greg Wood has joined the server as well in his Lamborghini. I'm sure he'll miss his commentary buddy, but as rumour has it, he might be getting a new one for our Sunday series coming up. Or that should be confirmed over the next couple of hours. So into the dying embers of practice now. We've got a couple of drivers still out there setting laps. Stu Rogers in his museum relic of a Lexus. That can't be a very fun car to drive around this tight and twisty circuit. It will be very difficult to get around the Yorkshireman on the start-finish straight, but it's going to take a very risky move down to turn 1 to try and pip him on the brakes. So yeah, we've got a couple of minutes left to go. Just Rogers and then the 666 car. I think who is the 666 car? A lot of drivers tonight on the left hand side, so it may be quite difficult to keep an eye on all these drivers. It's definitely a 666 car. That's 999. Doesn't matter, server has now gone over to qualifying and we are ready for our first competitive session. So in this qualifying session, the Pro-Am class drivers, that is the drivers with the red background, should have exclusive use of the circuit. Jamie Crabb in the YouTube chat, welcome indeed. I think we've got yourself on track. I could be mistaken with that one. I'm sure I seen you there. You are there. Car number 50. We'll keep an eye on yourself in qualifying and later on this evening. But right now it's Rustam Guzhinov for the Pro-Am category that has got us underway out of the pit lane. And just behind him we've got the Ferrari of Yannick Gerling, and then the 296, that's Paul Trotman. The first 3 cars that are going to be coming round this tight, twisty circuit. One of the things the drivers were mentioning was a concern in qualifying this evening after the race briefing was the potential for queuing at the end of the final sector. And we can see we've got quite a big gaggle of cars a little bit further back there. Adriano, we've got the Aston Martin just ahead of him there as well, and several cars tucked in behind. So that might become an issue later on. That's Verith, that's a championship contender just behind him. So that might become a small issue in qualifying. And we're actually going to maybe just stick with this gaggle of cars just now. Make sure they get round relatively okay. It is Trevor Mendes just ahead of this little pack here. They seem to be creating some gaps now, so that's good to see. Ed Sterling in chat. Hello Ed, the 4P Formula Racing League royalty has joined the chat. Welcome. Hope you're ready for some fine action this evening. Slow moving cars now appearing at the end of the straight as the helicopter picks up the queue It's beginning now to form. This is what we were concerned about this evening. But we're going to jump on with championship leader Mr. Starklov as he starts his flying lap off the Hungaroring. Short straight here at the start of finish straight. He needs to pick his braking point round about 120 metres out from turn 1. Turn it in early, off throttle, get the front end turned in and then get the right foot down. With as much power in this downhill section as possible. Bring the car back over to the right hand side. Spot your braking at the curb on the right and a little bit of trail braking. Patience on the throttle. The back end has a tendency to jump out and be very careful on that inside curb. Around turn 3, keeps it within the circuit limits. Turn 4 very tricky, big huge curb on the inside. It's so easy to run over that green curb line which denotes the track limit there. Twisty corner, that inside curb is treacherous in all racing sims, but particularly on Formula 1. Chicane now, right left, hop, skip and a jump over the curbs. Huge chunk of curb on the second part of that chicane, and now we've got all these twisty corners that all flow together. Late apex you want on this one as you open the tap and increase the speed down into this, one of the finest corners on the circuit. You want to take a later apex than that, Daniel, but he's ran over the curb now. And now again, spot the braking just round about the curb. Again, turned in early over that inside curb. You can't take a lot of it, but you can run onto the grasscrete on the left hand side. Second to last corner now. Again, the car just wants to keep running wide, and Starklov keeps the front end pointing the right direction. Now a tricky corner, multiple lines through here, but in qualifying you want to give yourself the shortest run to the line. Right foot to the floor and across the line, and Starklov has put himself in P2. So it's Guzyanov leads 1:45.3 with Starklov second, Gerline third. Keep an eye on the left hand side of your screen, those times are now about to tumble. And we'll see what times the AM drivers are able to do. A 1:45.3 is a very quick time, let's make no mistake about that. And Starklov, of course, was very fast on Super Sprint Sunday as well. The finale of Super Sprint Sunday took place just at the weekend there, where Starklov was involved in that race, and he was very quick there as well. So this looks like it's maybe not a fast lap from Wood. This looks like more he's opened the corner up to give himself the best exit. Yep, that wasn't a valid lap as we expected. Omarov now in the Grello Porsche comes across the line, P9, just clipping Laputov there. Mr. Trotman. Heartbreak for Trotman on Sunday as well, as he was robbed off the reverse, well not robbed is the wrong word, a very opportunistic move to buy one of his rivals down the inside of the final corner. Unfortunately took the win away from Paul Trotman in the reverse grid race 2, but he's managed to put himself a very good lap there, P8 just now. So here's a driver who did not take part in Super Sprint Sunday, Matty Dunn in the very yellow and pink Mr. Blobby Aston Martin. He runs very wide, a little bit of dirty air maybe from the Aston Martin just in front of him. The 620 car off in the Taser, so he's going to have to back out now, give himself some more space to try and set a lap. And the Taser moves out of the way, very interesting. Okay. Davy De Bomb in the 666 car running very well this evening, very striking chrome blue livery McLaren there. Just looking at the times on the left hand side, you have to wonder if one particular car does have an advantage around this circuit. Those Ferraris look very quick, taking the top 4 spots. Right now, the bomb not able to improve. Here comes Laputov round the second to last corner in the AGS Lamborghini. A very turbulent start to the season for Laputov, but he got his head on, got his head down, and got his foot down, and had a very good time last time out at Monza, not able to improve just now. It's good to see all the pro drivers can indeed read the driver's briefing, and they have managed to acknowledge the qualifying time slot. So like I said, the first 10 minutes of this session will be purely the Pro-Am drivers on the circuit. They can finish any lap they start before the timer on the right hand side, the top right of your screen, hits 10:00. After that, they must get off the circuit and give the pro drivers 10 minutes of exclusive running as well. And the idea is that will separate the times, as we've got a parked Lamborghini on the exit of turn 4 there. I think he's just getting out of the way for the faster lapping cars. Yeah, that's exactly what's happened there. That's absolutely fine. Of course, very good sportsmanship to do that. Not block anyone as they go around there. So yeah, as I was saying, the idea is that the pro drivers and AM drivers will get clean laps in, and that will separate the pros and the AM drivers, excuse me, from each other on the grid. However, with the pace of Guzhinov and Starkov, the massive improvement those guys have shown throughout the season, I do expect those two will be mixing it in amongst the pro tier. And of course, that will be considered for season 19. Which, of course, season 19 will be released to Formula Racing League's Patreon supporters later on this evening. Immediately following this race, actually, the Patreon supporters will have the opportunity to sign up for Taco Tuesday season 19. More on that later on, as Greg Woods managed to put himself up into P13. Who's out on track just now? They're all still lapping there on track. We've picked up a wild Starkov coming into the second to last corner. Has he found time? Has he been able to improve? The back end looks absolutely glued to the circuit. Here he comes across the line now. He does improve, but it's not enough to take that position from Guzhinov. But he's still within a tenth of a second. It's not over yet. Slow moving David de Bomb there at the back of the circuit. He's just tucked up behind car number 32. That is the Lamborghini off-grid. So quick rundown then, when it gets to the final few moments of the Pro-Am qualifying. Guzhinov, Starkov, Gerling, de Bomb, Trotman, Vereth, Dunn, Harris, Faze, Didsbury, Adrianov, Mendez, Wood, Omarov, Lapyatov and Neteza is the order. 5 seconds remaining, so this will be the last laps for these two. The Bomb is going to come into the pit lane for a practice pit stop. So that's the end of his qualifying. Jeff DeFaze in the 187 Glacier White. McLaren running very wide round the penultimate corner. Nope, he's not improving, he's done for this evening as well. Mr. Trotman, what can we do for you, sir, in your striking old school Gulf McLaren livery there? Comes across the line now. Behind him we've got another car just behind, the 136 of Lapyatov. Trotman up to P4. Lapyatov also improves up into P13. Good lap from Lapyatov. Guzhinov into the pits. He's no longer going to improve. Can Gerling find a massive chunk of time as he crosses the line? He does, but it's not enough to move up position. Matty Dunn looks very quick all season long. He's a second down on this circuit though. Maybe the Hungaroring not suited to the Aston Martin. But here comes Starkov. He's 10 milliseconds off. He just misses out on that position, and there's a good chance those two will still be next to each other side by side on the way into turn 1. Here comes Mr. Mendez on the way to the line. What can Mendez do? Been out for a few races, not able to improve unfortunately, but the Bentley of Adrianov does improve up into P6. Car number 24 to come across the line now. Vereth last across the line again, does find some time, but it's not enough, and he's up into P17. I mean, now we've got some queuing going on. The pro drivers having a big queue going on there at the end of the third sector. A helicopter picked it up as Sharp tries to find time, and he's got Volkman I think just behind as well. It's not great to see this. Two drivers with great experience, and they've still all managed to find the way to queue at the back of the circuit. This is stupid now, come on guys. all you're doing is creating an issue for everyone just trying to get round the circuit. You need to watch because there's drivers out there just now setting quick laps, such as Mr. Gedman. And you know what, we'll do the FRL co-owner a favour. We'll jump in the passenger seat and we'll watch his first qualifying outlap tonight. Very good run from Mr. Gedman in Super Sprint Sunday as well this season, as he got his Porsche, got to grips with the Porsche, found some pace with it, always found himself in race 2 battling near the front. But this is Taco Tuesday, he's in the top tier of Taco. What can he do with the Porsche this evening? And again, hop, skip and a jump. That Porsche sounds fantastic. Listen to the revs building. Patience through that sector, through the left kink, and the sweeping right now. Doesn't use all the track, back end tries to step out on him. As the helicopter picks him up into the final sector now, and he really cuts that inside corner, maximises his speed into the penultimate one now. Gets the front end tucked in, takes a little bit of a V-line through there. Doesn't use the pit lane on exit, so there's definitely room for improvement. A good cider lap then from the Scotsman as he rounds the final turn now. The Porsche, the big fat rear-ended Porsche, kicking himself over the line, and Gedman puts himself into P12 in amongst the AM tier. So here comes Volkman. We've seen Volkman earlier on in a little bit of a queue situation going on. He's coming round the final corner now too. Here he comes. What time can Volkman do? He puts himself on the board into P10, and we see some of the pro drivers now setting times. Guzhinov and Starklov really have been mixing it with the pro drivers here. Now, questions will be asked of the drivers and their tiering, which I don't want to happen because it was me that did that. So ideally we want to see the pro drivers find a bit more time, because right now positions 1, 2 and 4 are all set by the AM class drivers. Long way to go. We've still got 5 minutes of course off this qualifying session. Godefroy's done a very good lap there, only 6/10 down, but he's now tucked up behind Hymans. There was a big section of track, clear track there. Now Crab, who we've seen in the YouTube chat earlier on, has managed to find himself in. And what can he do? He's not set a valid lap, unfortunately. Balcianelli up into P5. It's a good lap from the Aston driver. FRL veteran, the titled Master of Defence from Sundays, Mr. Grace, comes across the line, and no improvement at this time. Hymans does improve. He's up to P7 now. Tulloch as well in that Ford, driving very well. But now we've got the pro drivers, they're into a rhythm, into their groove, as Adam Sharp, 1:43.825. Great lap from the Leeds man. And of course Francis de Bont in P2, only 2 tenths behind with Godefroy in very close succession. 1, 2 and 3. The pro drivers now just beginning to come into their own, opening the taps up on the cars. Car 147, that is Godefroy. He is looking very close to the back. That's just behind this little battle here. Godefroy and Hymans very close, as well as Tulloch and Gedman. Scottish civil war about to erupt here. But this is the final few moments of qualifying. This only sets the grid for our 90-minute showdown we're about to have later on. And we see that, look at them, fast. that Tulloch is closed in on the back of Gedman, the big, massive, shiny front end of Tulloch there, as Glover only 7 milliseconds behind Sharp. Tulloch does find an improvement, but he then needs to back off, but he's going to get himself involved in a tussle with the Porsche driver as they come down into turn 1. Now he does he's done. Maybe he thinks he can get back to the pits and back out and set himself another lap, and maybe he's done for this evening, who knows. So other drivers looking to find time. Gedman looks to be in amongst the AM tier. Rogers struggling with the Lexus. Big cumbersome word that I probably shouldn't say on the stream. Luke Prentice been out for a few weeks now, as we got a red Ferrari using all of the track and a little bit more there. Now that might invalidate his next lap if he's deemed to have gained an advantage. But we'll stick with Stu as he comes round the final corner now. Can he improve on his lap time? He's currently 22nd overall. Doesn't improve on that lap. It's not going well for Rogers. Now here we are with the Maltese magician, Steve Caruana. Black, purple and yellow trademark livery. The 713 cars never looked finer as he comes round the second to last, and he's got Cassier just in front of him as well. So this may be his last proper clean lap. Can he improve from that P19 as he comes round the final corner and across the line? He does find time. He's only 8 tenths off. He's in P15. So it does indeed look like Tulloch did get back out there. Has he got enough time to get back round? Only time will indeed tell. So who else have we not seen tonight? Who's out there doing laps? Jack Prentice, who does a fantastic Alex Brundle impersonation. We'll get him to post it in the Discord later on. He comes round the final corner now. And across the line, there's no improvement again. He's in that bundle there. Very tight midfield. Very, very tight midfield tonight. It's going to be very competitive, this race. I can feel it already. Car number 265 is out there. That's for Paulie. Can he improve? He doesn't find the time on this lap. I think he's going to be the last man across the line. Mr. Rogers. 5, 4, 3. Is he going to get one more lap? And he runs it all the way to the edge. Checkered flag is out. Rogers is going to get one more lap. He's not taking the flag. So Rogers will be the last man across the line. But the next man across the line is going to be the Aston Martin of Alessio Falcinelli. In his Switzerland themed car tonight. Runs very wide. That's almost the track limits. He's done. He's in the pits. It's over for him. But somebody is coming round the final corner, and that is Alex Cassier. Steve Caruana has dove into the pits. He'll get himself a practice pit stop. But can Cassier find more time? He doesn't. He doesn't, you know. Now Wouter Hymans again still closely followed by Geoffrey Godefroy. 6th and 5th respectively. The purple Ferrari again over the curbs across the line now. No improvement, and same from Godefroy. Almost no difference between them. But Adam Sharp's been pipped. He's got one last chance. He's given up. He's done. That lap is a bogey, and he is done for qualifying. He'll start no higher than P3. Joseph Volkmann with Jack Prentice in tow does improve, but no position improvement. Jack Prentice moves up into the top 10. And Van der Waal not able to improve. De Bont will take pole position. Car number 65, that's Tulloch. That doesn't improve on his final attempt. Now we've got 265. Car number 265, that's for Paulie coming round. Doesn't improve. Rogers is in the pits, and last car we've got is 696, and it's the one car I can't find. Does he improve? He does. Chris Faster up into P7. So a fantastic qualifying session for us to watch there. Very intense towards the end. But it is indeed Mr. De Bont in the white, blue and yellow 420 McLaren, who takes pole position for this finale at the Hungaroring. Damien van der Waal a tenth of a second behind him. It's a Dutch affair at the front. Brandon Glover, very quick driver, takes P3, just pipped Adam Sharp at the very last moment. The McLaren driver only a couple of milliseconds behind him. Wouter Heymans and Godefroy separated by 5 milliseconds on row 3. Chris Faster, row 4, and then pole position for Guzyanov and Starkov alongside him. So the championship battle is well alive in the Pro-Am category. Jack Prentice in P10, Morgan Grace 11th. Alex Cassier with the fastest Sector 1 time of anybody, 36.7, fantastic Sector 1 from the Mustang. Jamie Crabb just behind him, P13, Joseph Volkman 14th, Andrew Tulloch 15th, Steve Caruana 16th, Alessio Falcianelli in 17th, Luke Prentice 18th, Yannick Gerling P3 in the Pro-Am tier has got a lot of cars between himself and Starklov. For Poli in P20, Paul Trotman 21st, 4th in class, Stu Rogers 22nd, Dunn 5th in class, 23rd, Adrianov 24th, Verith 25th, Chris Gedman in amongst the Pro-Ams in 26th, David DeBaum 27th, Owen Harris in P28. On his last outing with FRL for a while, Jeff DeFaze 28th, Didsbury 29th, Mendez 30th, Laputov 31st, Greg Wood 32nd, Omarov 33rd, and Neteza brings up the rear. So that is the qualifying order and the order that they'll start the grid in this evening. We've got 3 minutes until the formation lap begins. That's just about enough time for me to give a little prompt, a little selling point for Formula Racing League. So as I mentioned earlier on, the opportunity for drivers to sign up to Formula Racing League's Taco Tuesday Season 19, which starts on the 12th of August. I'm going to check those dates, that does not sound right. It is, it's the 12th of August. Season 19 starts on the 12th of August, and sign-ups will go live for Formula Racing League's Patreon supporters later on this evening, immediately following this race. To become a Patreon supporter, it costs £3 per month, plus tax. That is less than your normal small coffee from your overpriced North American West Coast coffee chain. So one morning, what you could do is pour yourself a cup of instant coffee, forgo the expensive designer one, get yourself signed up to Formula Racing League's Patreon, get your advanced sign up all sorted, and you get some other fantastic benefits along with that £3 per month as well. You're also entitled to access to Formula Racing League's Patreon practice server, which sets up the circuit and conditions in advance for you to get the edge on your competition. You also have your very own live stream shared to 4,800 plus members of Formula Racing League's Discord. As mentioned, you'll get your advanced sign-up notice, and if you are a reserve, you will get priority over other reserves as well. And the other benefits also included. Of course, taking part in Formula Racing League is free, and if you are willing to risk waiting a couple of days, those sign-ups will go live later on this weekend. Just like the sign-ups for Super Sprint Sunday, Formula Racing League Super Sprint Sunday Season 19 will start on the 10th of August, and those sign-ups have been with the Patreon supporters now for a couple of days, and they will also go live to the general public immediately following this race as well. So that they got my Patreon punt in there with 40 seconds remaining. That gives me just enough time for a quick comfort break. Do not go anywhere. The Bont will get the formation lap underway. I'll be back with a lovely bottle of water, and we can get to the action. Do not go anywhere. I'll be right back.
20 seconds. 10 seconds.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for holding on for us there. We are now back. We are ready for the finale of Season 18 of Formula Racing League. Quick update on what we can expect tonight then. We have got a 90-minute race. We have got 2 mandatory pit stops for every driver. They may have to take more. We have, in those 90 minutes, the 2 pit stops must be taken outside of the first and last 5 minutes of the race. The drivers must take on fuel in these pit stops. They have the option to take tyres if they will. The fuel limits are unrestricted, so some various tragedies absolutely will happen tonight. It will be very tricky to watch. We've got 2 tiers in the grid tonight. The pro drivers marked with a white background on the left hand side, and the AM class drivers marked with a red. The drivers technically don't need to battle each other, reds versus reds, whites versus whites. However, we'll see what happens. Everyone's a racer at heart. They'll want to keep track position. The drivers have been read the riot act with regards to blue flags and inter-tier battles this evening. Respect has been urged. Look at the snake on the track map on the bottom right over there. The Bont will definitely need to bring back those guys up as the ghosting begins at the back of the grid there. We've got some drivers saying they've had difficulties entering the server. Unfortunately, it's way too late now to sort that one out, unfortunately. We've got 90 minutes of high octane action here for the finale of Formula Racing League. At the front of the grid, we've got De Bont and Van der Waal. We're going to try and keep a track of both of these tiers as they navigate 90 minutes here at the Nürburgring. The clouds have came over the circuit. We've got De Bont in the white, Van der Waal in the green and black. Just behind them, Glover in the Mustang and Sharp in the Leeds coloured McLaren. Hymans and Godefroy behind them. Keep an eye on the Limoncello Ferrari on 9th place, Starkov and Guzhinov side by side, as well as we await the green lights here for the finale of Formula Racing League.
Green light. Go, go, go.
And we are green, green, green. Chris Gedman's off to a fantastic start with a penalty, but through goes Starkov at the back. Sharp is darting all over the circuit on the way into turn 1. We're 5 wide for even some of these drivers, and it's obviously so tight at the back. The front guys through relatively cleanly. Guzhinov's kept himself ahead of Starkov. Everyone seems to get through relatively okay near the rear of the grid. Harris and DeFay's battering tough there as well, and Omarov keeping himself honest in front of Harris. Into turn 2, one of the trickier parts of the circuit. There's some cars going wide. There's a Caruana facing the wrong way at the back. He's been touched on the way round. Absolute heartbreak for his season to go. And here comes, and the timing screen's all over the place, so I've lost track of who is doing what exactly where, so we'll stick at the front just now and try and catch up as the action unfolds. It's Damien van der Waal's got himself ahead with De Bont just tucked in behind, flying over the curbs. He maybe opens up an opportunity into the switchbacks, but nothing on this time. Glover's kept himself third with Sharp fourth. Guzhinov's got himself ahead of Hymans and put a car in between him and Starkov. Prentice up into 9th, Cassier 10th, and Fastar in P11 as well. I thought a car was in the wall there. It was just a fire engine out the back. Tight action all through the field as they navigate these turbulent corners, is probably the best way to put it. But up at front, Van der Waal leads De Bont, leads Glover, but one thing I want to see is going to be very interesting to see is the might of the Mustang in a straight line, but just up ahead De Bont taking an alternate line into the final corner, and that's opened up a move potentially down into turn 1 for the lead of the race on the second lap. There's nothing doing just now as the action unfolds behind Cassier and Prentice. Prentice down the inside, makes the move, stick on Cassier, but Cassier tries to switch back up the inside. Space just been left between the two green Mustangs. one Mint, one Forest. And here they go side by side now into turn 2. Neither driver giving anything up. As Prentice back end steps out a little bit, and that makes Cassie a little bit nervous, and he's had to pull out of that one. A little bit further back, Verith's on the rear of Rogers, and he's stuck in a Pro-Am sandwich between Verith and Dunn. Incredible scene so far. Verith dancing on the back of Rogers, trying to get himself past. And he wants to catch himself up. He's got a championship in the balance. He needs to catch up with Starclaw. There's a lot of cars between the two of them. Chris Gedman now served his penalty and will take the back off the field just now. But given the pack and how difficult it is to overtake here, I imagine Gedman will catch up to the back of this pack relatively quickly. So here's a very tight-knit pack here, a big train going on. It's a big snake actually running through the circuit just now. I think car number 26, that is Matty Dunn, appears to be the cork in the bottle for the rest of the field to catch up and pull up there. As he goes very sideways through the final corner. And one thing that has been noted, Rogers struggles with the lectiousness in the corners, but look what it does in a straight line. The Aston, of course, no slouch either, but he is beginning to close on the way down to that first corner. Does he think about throwing it down the inside? Not on this occasion. Omarov just behind as well. Up at the front then, Vandal Wall's been still out there in front, 0.3 of a second to De Bont. That gap is a little bit less between De Bont and Glover than the timing screen says, yet 0.6 of a second. Sharp and Godefroy come through there as well. Guzhinov falling off the back of Godefroy now, and that's going to maybe get Hymans to think about trying to just close that gap, maybe see a potentially rash move down the inside somewhere, because he'll want to keep up with Godefroy. You've seen in qualifying those two were very clearly matched. So we've nearly hit the 5-minute mark into this race tonight. It's been very clean so far. Only car we've seen had major issues was Steve Caruana, who is still running. He's up into P29. So he's making his way back through the pack, but just behind this slot, Cassio and Prentice still fighting. As race control let us know, the pit window has now opened, so now the drivers, if they want, can take the first of their 2 mandatory pit stops. And one thing that might work this evening is drivers looking for that clean air. So jump in the pits now, take a little bit of fuel on, and then get yourself in a clean air, do some laps, and then change tyres about halfway through that next stint. And that might indeed find yourself making some strides tonight. Very tight track, very hard to overtake, so if you are being held up, that is an option for you. Cassier and Prentice still battling hard. But the displeasure of having to battle Jack myself is very, very good defensively. Very hard driver to get past. And Cassier's finding that one out. He tries to switch back, but there's no space there on the inside. There's no room at the end for Cassier's stable of horses, as they're currently being occupied by that mint green baby of Jack Prentice. And now Prentice conducting his own train tonight, as he's beginning to fall back in a late defensive move, probably just about on the edge of fair. Cassier has to pull out of that one very quickly, and nearly a catastrophic end to both of their races. The two up front are now beginning to stretch their legs, as well as De Bont and Van der Wal, as they have done for most of the season, pulling themselves out a gap. So here we are a little bit further back in the field. This is in AM class, the battle for 4th in class. Dunn, Verith, DeFaze and De Bomb all close there. But Omarov in the back there looked like he was looking very interested in a move. Nothing doing on this occasion. Steve Caruana now coming up to the back off the big old Bentley. And I don't think there's ever been 2 more contradictory cars in terms of strengths and weaknesses. Just ahead of this, Harris, it looks like he's under a lot of pressure. And so is Adrianov now. He's side by side with Omarov now. This is going to open the door for Steve Caruana, who gets a fantastic exit. Now the Bentley has got the grunt. We know it's fast in a straight line. And look at the Bentley, it's struggling against the Porsche. The Bentley not able to stretch its legs on exit, and Caruana's going to try and go round the outside off the Bentley driver. It's very easy to lose traction out there on that curb. He's got the inside for turn 2. Oh, very close between the two of them. Action, of course, all over the pack. It's going to be very tricky to try and keep a track of all this evening. We'll do our best. If you're in the YouTube chat watching, do give me a shout if you want to go view a battle. We'll have a look. Oh, we'll have a look. But this is Luke Prentice. How many times can we get the word Luke into one sentence? Luke Prentice on the back of Volkmann, looking at the back of his rear wing. I think I was about 6 there. That could be a record. But here is Luke Prentice. He's going through the twisty section now. This is where it's hard to follow someone. As these drivers are indeed proving as the gaps begin to just spread out a little bit now, but the one gap that's not spreading out is the gap here at the very front of the pack. We're on board with Francis de Bont as he looks at the back of Damien van der Waal's rear wing. This is the battle for the lead. Formula Racing League, sim racing at its very best, and that's what we are being treated to this evening. Hello, Luke Richings in the chat. Again, we can say the word Luke some more. Thank you very much for joining us. Yes, Starklov is indeed running P8. It's a good run for himself and Guzhinov. Both of them doing a fantastic job at making sure they're put in the pro category for next season. Those two qualified, of course, 10 milliseconds out from each other, proving just how close the battle in the Pro-Am tier is. But these guys are kind of on their own. Just Hyman's four-wheel drift round turn 4. 3 Ferraris in a row. And Hyman's desperately looking to get out of this Pro-Am sandwich. And if he can, he'll be able to try and make some more inroads on Godefroy. He'll be getting so frustrated. But up at the front again, it's Van der Waal. Looks like he's beginning to struggle. Now, it is very warm here at the Hungaroring. 27 degrees. Oh, what's going on there? 27 degrees ambient temperature, 32 degrees track temperature. Now, that will be eating into these guys' tyres. They'll be beginning to struggle a lot earlier than I'm sure they planned. Will that dictate strategy? Will they go for 2 tyre stops tonight? That can cost you upwards of 28 extra seconds to take tyres in both stops. So that is a big chunk, and the drivers will need to feel like it's worth it if they are indeed going to make that choice. But here we come into turn 1 again. The ball with the fastest lap of the race, and he's right on the bumper now of Van der Waal. So here we go, a little bit further back now in this snake. We've got a lot of cars fighting here. Some action going a little bit further back there. We've got some cars very close. This is Mateza and Mendes. Both Aston Martins struggling a little bit tonight. Mateza off the back of that amazing result last time out at Monza, struggling tonight, unfortunately. So here's another battle we've been looking at for a while now. We've got Andrew Tulloch, Luke Prentice, Flapoli and Gerling all side by side, jumping over that chicane. Cassier's finally got himself in front of Jack Prentice. We missed that one, unfortunately. Jack Prentice train becoming detached. And he's now got faster on his tail as well. As I can see the closing speeds under braking, that's what the drivers really do need to be careful of tonight. Is the closing speeds and the closing distances under braking. It can be very tricky. Try and navigate that and try and predict when the car ahead is going to brake. Of course, not all the cars have the same strengths and weaknesses. Different lines will be used based upon your car. And while they're in close proximity like this, that's something they'll need to pay attention to. So Gerling on the back of this little pack here, trying his best to keep up, doing a fantastic job. But you can just sense the frustration as these two rivals just begin to pull ahead. Another driver who's going to feel very frustrated just now. Second place in the Pro-Am Championship, Verith, having some difficulty maintaining pace with the drivers in front. Another thing that the drivers will need to be aware of this evening as well. Car off, 296, that's Paul Trotman. Trotman's been off, he's had an accident and low. Well, Trotman, as you can see, sporting some new updates to the front of that Ferrari. I think the idea behind those updates is to make it drive much worse. Well, he's been in the wall somewhere around the circuit and he's going to have to get to the pits and get that fixed because he'll be losing a chunk of time trying to carry that around with him. Here we go again, down into turn one. It's the two leaders, they're side by side. The Bont thinks about it to the inside, pulls out at the last minute. The Ferrari is so good on the brakes, he's taking a slightly later apex. That'll open up the exit, help him get the traction down. But as you can see on the way down to turn two, it's all Van der Waal. The Bont carries more speed through the corner, but the Ferrari is able to brake so late and get on the power with its advanced traction control system very early as well. So we picked up Fast R now, who's still behind Prentice. Prentice conducting this train expertly in using the Mustang's straight line speed to keep the fast charging Fast R on his tail. I love this section here, it's so technical, it's so easy to make a mistake and lose a position. And you can see there the strengths and the differences in the cars as the Ferrari is so much more nimble than the big cumbersome Mustang. Aston Martin behind him, that is I think Gurley at the back, struggling to keep up as well. So in this queue we've got Prentice, Fastar, Falcianelli, it's Volkman, my apologies, and then Tulloch and Luke Prentice joining the back off this train. Up front again, he's tucked in behind once more. He's got a good exit, he's opened the steering up very early this time. Has the Bont, so it's not quite enough, is it? You have to sit there for one more lap. And Jack Prentice manages to hold it together as well. As the Mustang looks like it might be in trouble here down into turn two. No, he stretched his legs, and again the straight line speed off that Stang does the job. But here comes Caruana down the inside of Harris. The cursed Sky McLaren livery moves out of the way for the pro driver coming through. Grace as well, looks like he's only been in the wars tonight. Maybe it was Grace and Caruana who had that touch. Didsbury's been in the pits and rejoins now behind Mr. Gerdman. This is the battle for the lead. We're still with these two. They're not giving an inch. They're absolutely flying out there. They're moving away from Glover, who's no slouch either. And now the gap between this pack and the chasing pack, nearly 3 seconds. Round the second to last corner now. De Bont looks to a very tight line. He's going to V this corner. Try and open up the exit. And again, it looks like a fantastic drive out of the corner from the Ferrari of Van der Waal. But as they come into the first corner again, what's going to happen? Again, the steering, the traction of that Ferrari is opened up. As Faster is now pitted, that's unleashed a gap for Prentice to have a little bit of rest. Flashing by Volkmann, don't know what that's about. Volkmann flashing his lights. 696 also in the pits. Some drivers now beginning to think this might be a time to make the commentator's life an absolute nightmare as he struggles to keep track with who's doing what, where and when. Car number 696 in the pits. So here is Omarov, and he's got himself a little bit of a snake here as well. Omarov, Lapitov, De Bomb, Wood and Mendes all running close together here as he runs a little bit wide, which reminds me of what I was saying earlier on. Something the drivers will need to look out for tonight is track limits. You can of course run over the track limits 3 times before the game will issue some kind of a penalty, and they're so abundant here they could really struggle. No, I'm not Scottish, I'm actually from Finland. Look, if you just let her know I am from Finland. And we'll see how that one goes down. But there goes De Bont. He thinks about a move. It's getting closer, isn't it? That time is coming soon. De Bont thinks about it there into turn 1. Starkov now beginning to fall off the back of Guzhinov, stuck behind Cassier. That Mustang will be chewing through its tyres, of course. Luke Prentice under pressure, it looks like, from Fopoli behind. Here comes Steve Caruana, and he's on the back of Jochen Vereth. Big difference in closing distance. He needs to be careful. He needs to watch that closing distance off the car ahead. If he wants to make the overtake, he needs to pull out of that slipstream a lot earlier. He's very close to the back of this Ferrari now. He needs to be so cautious not to make contact. And this is where you just want to see some common sense from the drivers. We can see the Pro Ferrari is a lot faster, and Vereth looks to be defending with his life. He's going to lose a lot more time defending that position. He is of course entitled to. The Pro-Am drivers do have the priority off the racing line. But here comes the front 2 again. Here we go. Take 7, take 12 into turn 1. Van der Waal in the green. De Bont in the white. What can they do down on the run into turn 1? Again, it's close, but it's just not enough, is it? Between the two of them, there's not enough there. And it looks like a bad exit from Van der Waal there. Maybe he's going to be under pressure on the way to turn 2. The Ferrari is so much better on the brakes, though, and carry so much more speed. And here comes Prentice, Valcinelli, and just behind Volkmann and Tulloch. Tulloch showing his nose to the inside there, just making it a little bit nervous. Caruana still in the back of Vereth, finally gets that job done. And he'll be getting very frustrated in the back there. So here's another move we've got going on, some movers and shakers. We've got David De Bomb, Greg Wood side by side on the way on the run down to turn 1. Mendes just behind these two as well. We're looking for a move. The Lamborghini, as we know, so good on the brakes, and they run each other very wide space just left by Wood. But look at the traction from the Ferrari on the way down and the run down to turn 2. Wood's going to try and hang it round the outside. He won't make that one stick, unfortunately. It will open the door for Mr. Mendes, who's lurking in the background. He's not quite ready to give that up. It's side by side into turn 4, and there's contact. They're side by side. Now Woods moved him off track. He's going to have to give that place back. Now, that looks suspicious, guys. And maybe let that one go back again. Yep. We'll let the stewards work out what they want to do with that one. But here they come again. And the bot looks a lot closer. He's moved to the inside and he throws the dummy. And Van der Waal does not react. We've got slow moving traffic in the final sector. Can't quite make out which car it is. I think we had Fopoli running slowly, maybe. Volkman. Hymans, it's Hymans. Hymans isn't off somewhere. He's way down there now in P11. So it definitely looks like right now the Bont is the faster of these two, as the back end of that Ferrari desperate to overtake the front end. Struggling to keep the car in a straight line. He'll be seesawing at the wheel, weaving left and right like a grandma at a knitting convention, as he tries to keep the car pointing in the right direction. I'm not normally someone who sticks with the leaders throughout a race, however, these two are genuinely the closest battle on the circuit we're seeing just now. No one looks to be closer, and as they come through the second to last corner and the final corner again, they're almost on his bumper, pushing him through the turn. They're inches apart, and we've all seen this happen before, where they dance on the edge of disaster. And once again, the dummy not thrown. Van der Waal not defending the fresh air. A little bit further back, it looks like Wood has given the place back. Mendes has went through as well, so maybe there's been an incident there. Adrianov down in 31st as well, not his evening tonight. Fastar and Didsbury have completed their first of 2 mandatory pit stops. Now these two need to be careful, because what they've done is by fighting each other for 15 laps, not only are they going to be working their tyres harder than someone on the Biggest Loser, they are going to be allowing Sharp and Glover and Co just to begin to close up on them. You can see them now edging towards them. You can cut the tension here with a cricket stump. It's absolutely insane what we've gone on tonight. For the end of the season finale, car 666 is off at turn 3. That's Falcianelli. Falcianelli's off circuit. He's going to rejoin just ahead of Paul Trotman. Maybe we can contact there. We know they were in a very tight battle, of course. And here we go again, down to turn 1. De Bont throws it to the inside, cutting all sorts of shapes in the mirror of Van der Waal. And Van der Waal's got this technique of just straightening the car out on the exit of turn 1. But it's not been enough this time, as the slipstream effect for the McLaren. He pulls out to the inside, and once again the inside line covered by Van der Waal. You cannot separate these two. They are so closely matched. Falcianelli's been in the pits, came out of the pits and spun. That's what's happened to him. Nightmare. Nightmare stuff. So, how is the Apprentice train getting on right now? Tulloch has managed to get past. Starklov's now right on the back of Guzyanov again. Cassier's got past them both. So right now we're back on board with the bot. He's just driving like, to quote the age-old analogy, a different animal. Van der Waals being the same old beast throughout. You can see the confidence on the way in. Our first drive through this evening for track limits. Car number 999, that's Alexei Adrianov in the Bentley, one of the widest cars of course. Now the exit for De Bont there wasn't as good as we've seen up until this point. Starkov still running very well, only 0.6 of a second behind Guzyanov. Close battle going on here. We've got Morgan Grace P19, Jochen Vereth 20th, Matty Dunn 21st and Owen Harris 22nd, as we see Vereth peel off into the pit lane and he's going to start potentially some overtaking moves there. But look at the side spin coming out of the final corner by Dunn. Does an incredible job to collect that. I thought he was definitely in the wall for sure, as that allows Owen Harris through to take the position. So let's see what kind of pit stop are we talking about. We've got Luke Prentice and Falcianelli. It looks like, no that's not, that's Fapoli, sorry, in there as well. And it's a quick splash and dash for Vereth. He's going to go out there again. And you see De Bont still pushing away on Van der Waal, and this has allowed Adam Sharp to slowly but surely creep his way back into the conversation. But now, here we go, De Bont peels into the pit lane, and this is where we could see the undercut beginning to happen. We thought De Bont was running a lot faster. We'll stick with the McLaren driver very briefly, and we'll see how long his pit stop takes as well. Currently holds the fastest lap off the race. And this is the thing, so he's going to get in the pits, get some fresh tyres maybe, or at least get, what might happen now is he might get stuck in some dirty air. The traffic is too early, too late now to try the early stop and get some clean air. The field is a lot more spread out. But De Bont is now in the pits. That's a quick stop. He's not changing tyres. He's taking a quick tyre stop. He's hoping to get out in front of these cars coming down the straight now. Here comes Paul Trotman, and he's timed that to absolute perfection. He's got a couple of seconds in front of him, but he can try and eat through the traffic now. He's got 7.13 just ahead of him. That's Stu Rogers. On board with Mr. Sharp, and the gap does seem to be steady there at 1.5 seconds. Mendes now in the pits as well. Has his car 777. With Adrianov here, his penalty to serve, didn't he? No, he didn't. That's 999. Who's 777? That's Harris. Harris has dove into the pits. So here's Falcianelli. He's got car 187. That's Jeff DeFaze running very sideways, as is Falcianelli. He's ran off circuit round the outside of turn 5. As DeFaze kicks a little dust into his rival's face there, just for good measure. And here comes Hyman's. Now Hyman's taking to the pit lane. The gap at front now only 0.9 as we've got some lapping traffic. Harris comes out of the pits in what must be described as one of the worst places he could have came out of the pits, in amongst the leaders. Owen Harris giving himself the high pressure situation. He smashes over that curb and he's now got the two fast lapping podium contenders in his back mirror around the twisty part of the circuit. I'm just watching with intensity here because blue flags are shown as Harris now moves out of the way, and does he does stay out of the way now. The red car coming through. Oh, very close, almost contact into the back of Godefroy there. I think Cassier's just got himself out ahead. He's shown us 0.5 behind the phase. I think the phase was running through the pit lane there. I don't think there was a battle going on. So this is the part of the race where it becomes almost impossible to watch and try and keep track of everything that's going on. We'll do our very best. Chris Gedman now in the pits along with 187. That is Jeff DeFaze we've seen earlier on. So those guys taking their pit stop as well. This is now Adam Sharp, who was running P3, now in P2, on the back of Damien van der Wal for the lead of the race. Glover just falling back off this now. Here's an interesting battle we have going on. Steve Caruana and Stu Rogers, who I know for certain are in the same party chat together. Will there be a few choice words being spoken, or will they be taking this very well? As the leaders now come up to some lapping traffic, and again this is where it could get very tricky for Van der Wal. Van der Wal is given track position. Fantastic stuff from the 620 Aston Martin. That's great driving from Neteza. But the problem is now, has Neteza put himself under pressure? There's more leaders coming through there, so he's got a while back to Harris yet. Caruana made contact with Stu Rogers. He's off circuit. Stu Rogers facing the wrong way. We jump back to the battle at just the right time, or the wrong time, depending on whose point of view you want to look at. We caught the action on camera, and there's this drive-through penalty for Joseph Volkman for track limits. We did mention that earlier on. We're going to see some drive-throughs this evening for track limits. And Volkman, who's running in a very solid P8, is the most recent victim of that, as he goes to serve it almost immediately. Prentice now approaches the back of Omarov. Blue flag showing. That's another driver letting cars past on corners. And I know we see that in Formula 1, but it is risky. Another drive-through. Luke Prentice has picked up a drive-through penalty on the exit of that fast right-hander on the end of turn sector 2. So Luke Prentice is going to have to go through the pits one extra time tonight as well. As he takes to the pit lane now, serves it almost immediately, and that will release Starklov. The Starklovs went early, Guzhinov has not. Sharp now showing us 0.2 behind Van der Wal, and Van der Wal once again has got a very angry looking McLaren on his rear wing. Keep an eye on this one. What can Sharp do? He's in the slipstream. The clouds really have now come over the circuit. The sun's gone. That will lower the temperatures. That will help the drivers on tyre wear. But the one thing the cloud coming over does potentially signal, I don't want to start weather watching, that it is the potential for rain. There is a small chance of rain this evening, 10 to 15% chance. There is some droplets swirling in the air. Very unpredictable evening, humid evening here at the Hungaroring. So that's a potential as well. We will know in the next 22 minutes if we're going to see any form of rain tonight. It's cloudy just now. We'll see how things go, but one person who's looking to see how things go is Adam Sharp, and now we've got the potential for Luke Prentice to possibly get involved in this. Now there's a blue flags going on, but it's this section of the track you can't really overtake on. As Prentice again runs wide, he needs to watch that. He's already been in trouble with the track limits tonight. That's why he's down there in car 620. That is Neteza under speeding in the pit lane, has received a 30-second stop-go penalty. The stewards, of course, in game do not appreciate that one. And I think Sharp now is really on the back of Van der Waal. This is his best chance yet. The gap is even smaller. He picks up the toe once more. It's a very short straight here, though I don't think there's enough room for Sharp to make the dive down into turn 1. He needs to try and maximise that exit speed. Now he has nailed the apex. Again, I don't think he's got enough there on the way down to turn 2. Nope, nothing doing. So here's a move here for position within the Pro-Am tier. We've got Lapitov and Harris side by side into turn 2. Harris showed his nose up the inside. Now that need to be careful because the Lapitov car will try and cut back across. He's taking a V line there. You need to watch that one if you have a car on the inside and make sure they've not ran wide in the artery. That is their intended line. Car 43, Luke Prentice, off circuit at turn 4. He's had an incident again. He's off track. He looks like he's spun. And he's hit. He's either hit the wall or been hit. And he's now parked there. Now Sharps fell off the back of Van der Waal. What's happened there? He's got Glover and Godefroy for company now. As the Mustang of Godefroy again cutting all kinds of shapes in the background. And fair play to Guzyanov, he's held on so well. He's running P5 overall on track. He's got himself a big gap down to Yannick Gerling in second, who's a gross second just now. Cassier set the fastest lap of the race down in P15, so maybe he's pitted for new tyres. Got the foot down and just went for it. So maybe Cassier's going to run the alternate strategy, take the 2 sets of tyres for the warmer conditions here at the Hungaroring. So this is the finale, of course, of Formula Racing League's Championship. As Glover, Van der Waal's in the pits. So we'll keep an eye on De Bont as he comes round. I have to imagine De Bont has been lapping a bit faster than Van der Waal has. He looks like he's been struggling out there. Yeah, he's cleared Van der Waal by some margin, it looks like. Now, I suspect Van der Waal in the pits for tyres. And potentially anyway, looking for a splash and dash at the end. And that's the same tactic we've seen Johnny Sharp use in round 4 at Suzuka. We had the same race set up that evening as well. Lapitov still on the back of Harris, not letting the Sky McLaren go. Have to actually give a big shout out to Owen Harris and Greg Wood for their job this season, providing the soundtrack and the narrative for Formula Racing League's Super Sprint Sunday series, which took place, the finale there, just on Sunday there. Those guys have been calling the action for a couple of years now, and Mr. Harris who we're looking at just now, is going to be taking an extended break to embark on the most fantastic endurance race of all, which is Fatherhood. So congratulations to himself and his partner, who will be bringing a bundle of joy into the world very shortly. I wish you the best, Owen, and hope to see you back not too soon. Hopefully you've got a good sleeper and we can find you back on the grid in less time than you probably expect. But that does mean, of course, there is a potential slot opened for commentary on Super Sprint Sunday. If anyone is interested, of course, do get in touch, leave your comments in the chat, have a little chat with us on the Discord, let an admin know that you're interested. Here's Omarov and the Bomb side by side. We've got some action on track. This is for position. Both drivers have pitted. Omarov runs very wide the back end of that Porsche, looking very tipsy, like it's walking out of a club at 3 o'clock in the morning after a messy night on the vodka. The Bomb looked like he was compromised actually coming out of turn 3. As they come through turn 4 now. And again, the 4-wheel drift by Omarov. He needs to watch those track limits. Now sometimes the game can decide you've not gained an advantage and not penalise you, but it's not always 100% reliable. And there's contact. Omarov has just sent the boom, flying straight into the wall. Look at the damage on the front of that car. He tries to get himself rejoined almost in front of Caruana. Caruana wise enough, of course, to avoid such incidents as that. Now Caruana has still got 2 stops to make, but he's now running up in P9. Rogers in the same position in P10 with Volkmann after serving that drive-through just behind. Now he's got Damien van der Waal behind. As Van der Waal is trying to either make use of those tyres or eke them out to the end. And he's made contact with Volkmann coming through the fast right-hander. Now you need to watch this guy. He's coming through the field. Different strategies involved, of course. It's just almost unnecessary. As the train conductor himself, Alex Brundle, Jack Prentice, comes through to take the lead off the race in P4, and I do suspect what strategy he might be running this evening as well. Potential to see him high up the grid this evening.
We are halfway through, keep pushing.
As race control lets us know we're now at the halfway point of the action this evening, I will take this opportunity to talk about Season 19 as I keep interrupting myself. Season 19 of Formula Racing League will start on Sunday the 10th of August. We're back with Super Sprint Sunday. We do have a new format potentially being unveiled, but if you do want to take part in Formula Racing League's featured reverse grid series, where Race 2 has a reverse grid of Race 1's results, sign-ups are going to go live to the whole of SimGrid later on this evening, immediately following this race, along with sign-ups for Tackle Tuesday Season 19 for Patreon supporters only. Remember, Formula Racing League Patreon starts at just £3 per month plus tax, and with that you do get advanced sign-up to reserve your place. You can reserve your very own racing number, i.e. Jack Prentice here has 678 in his hand for the past several years. You will also get your live stream broadcast to over 4,800 Formula Racing League Discord members. They'll be notified every time you go live, and you also get your very own Patreon practice server to practice the next race that Formula Racing League is hosting 1 week in advance ahead of anyone else. So that is Formula Racing League Patreon, and the new sign-ups for next season go live for Super Sprint Sunday immediately after this race tonight, and of course Tackle Tuesday immediately after this race for Patreon supporters only. So De Bont's found himself back up into P2. He's just behind. He's got a lapping traffic of Omarov. just in front of him. We've seen Omarov struggling a little bit as well. Caruana and Rogers have found himself in a position not too far behind either. Damien van der Waal, what's he behind the Bont? 10 to 15 seconds maybe? It's close. A lot of drivers now taking their stops. Brandon Glover's went 2 stops in a row, tried to clear both of his pit stops. He's now came out behind that green Ferrari of it's not 717. That is Gerling for Poli. That's Didsbury. Green Ferrari of Didsbury. Okay, so he's came out, I think, just behind Yannick Gerling there. So he's came out of 15th. As Didsbury very skillfully moves off track, and now he's caught up the Mustang there. Now we've not seen him coming through. There's so many cars coming past him, it's very difficult to keep track. Lapitov once again on the back of Mr. Harris. Lamborghini versus McLaren. Sky livery versus the AGS Motorsports livery of the Lamborghini. I'm getting some kind of flashbacks here as well. This is the same livery as myself and my old colleague at Formula Racing. They used to race in as well, and we'd have some tremendous battles. So I'm getting some fantastic nostalgia watching this back, reminding me of the battles with Mr. Naisbitt, of course, aka Punchface. Please come back soon, you are missed. So, quick rundown of the order. Jack Prentice leads, yet to stop. He's got the Bont 4 seconds behind him. Steve Caruana in P3, Stu Rogers P4. Damien van der Waal having pitted once in P5. Adam Sharp in P6. Cassier with the fastest lap of the race in 7th. Godefroy 8th. Hyman's 9th. Starklov leading the AM class in P10. What's happened to Guzyanov? No! Oh, he'll be absolutely heartbroken with that. He'll be as disappointed with that as I was with the Hangover 3, as he looks like he's been disconnected from the server. But that has led Starklov into the lead of the Pro-Am class and potentially the lead of the championship. His nearest championship rival, Jochen Vereth, 22 seconds behind in P11. Brandon Glover completed all of his pit stops in P12. He's now racing to the end. Yannick Gerling in P13. Tulloch 14th, having completed 1 stop. Morgan Grace as well. For Poli in P16, Volkmann, after serving his drive-through, now down in P17. Chris Faster in the 696 Ferrari has completed all of his stops as well. Owen Harris currently running 4th in tier. He's got Paul Trotman all over his rear end, along with Lapitov. Where this Trotman came from out of nowhere there. It came out of nowhere like an RKO and found himself in amongst this battle. Falcianelli also completed all his pit stops just behind this pack. Mendes completed 1 stop, 23rd. Omarov just going through the chicane with Wood on his tail. Chris Gedman down in P26 after serving a drive-through for being out of position at the start of the race. Jeff DeFe's 27th, as Matty Dunn is struggling with that Aston Martin tonight. It's all over the place. He's completed all of his pit stops now, as has Adrianov, just leaving the pit lane in his seafaring vessel to rejoin the circuit, and decides that the white line is a dot to him and rejoins the circuit. You need to watch. The stewards have eyes everywhere, guys. As risky move in the background there from, that is, it looks like the Caruana has made his pit stop. He has, and he's rejoined the front of Morgan Grace. Now that was risky. This is 4th position. Porsche versus Ferrari as they come round into turn 5. Caruana hugs the inside line as if it's his favourite granny. Clips the inside curb, but don't want to do that too often. It makes the car very unstable as Grace moves about in the rear wing, tries to put off the Maltese magician As Didsbury, again, fantastic etiquette shown by the Ferrari driver. There's alternate lines being thrown once again from Grace. And Fopoli is not far behind these two. They need to be very careful. Caruana seems to have gained a little bit of a gap. Now the Porsche, of course, so good on traction. You'll need to be careful coming out of that final corner. The helicopter now picks them up. Ignore the helicopter on the ground. This is the only helicopter you want to be in. As Caruana and Grace both take that late line to maximise their exit speed onto the straight. Both kick up the dust. I think Caruana's done enough as the Porsche looks to be flashing his lights frantically in the background. The Porsche dives out of the way, and it's good driving from Grace, who managed to avoid contact, and that is the level of sportsmanship we love to see here in Formula Racing League. It really does make sim racing at its very best, as Prentice now dives into the pit lane. A fantastic 54-minute stint from the mint green Ford Mustang, and that's now let the McLaren horses out of the stable. De Bont will now go out and stretch his legs, and will get a accurate time all the way back to Damien van der Waal, and we'll find out what extent of work van der Waal has to do. So he's 19 seconds behind, so we'll keep an eye on that gap tonight, because it is very important for the strategy this evening, as they've got Starklov in amongst a fight here, and cars peeling off to the pit lane. They've got a Lamborghini just ahead. I think that is lapping traffic. I think that's Greg Wood that's jumped into the pit lane in the Pro-Am tier. Oh no, we've definitely got it confirmed in the chat there. Guzyanov has been disconnected once again. ACC servers tonight, it looks like, maybe having defecated the sleeping arrangements, and that's resulted in the AM class pole sitter not able to rejoin the race. It's terrible luck this season for Guzyanov. He's definitely had the pace to be challenging at the front, but that all but hands the title to Daniel Starklov, who has been fantastic. We've got 35 minutes, of course, remaining. It's not over yet. Verith can stick with it. He's still in the hunt, but has he got enough? He doesn't need to beat Starklov to take that title, so we'll see how it goes. But now Verith is all under pressure. He's got Yannick Gerlein all over his back, as Verith has just let Tulloch through for the lapping traffic. It's not actually lapping traffic, it's just different tiers, so there was no obligation to do so, but look how close they are. They're battling for position. Now this is for second place in tier. Gap at front now 21.8 seconds between the two leaders. This is the battle for 11th on track and second in the Pro-Am class. Verith is competing for the championship tonight with Starklov. It looks like the ball right now is firmly in Starklov's hands as we reach the fourth quarter and approach the 2-minute warning. There we go, that'll bring some North American viewers in as they make some NFL references. As De Bont finds his way by the McLaren of Trotman. Some traffic for the race leader, maybe that'll eat into the gap. I don't think Van der Waal's had a much easier situation. He's running through some lapping traffic as well. Sharp still 1.3 behind in the battle for the podium. Cassier's moved up to the back of these guys as well. He's made use of that early pit stop with the clean air, but will Cassier need to pit again for tyres? That is the question. We have 31 drivers remaining in this race tonight. We've got Faster, Falcianelli, Dunn, Lapitov, Omarov, Adrianov and Rude, along with Brandon Glover, all completed their pit stops for this evening. Now, start off this evening, it has to be said, would have been Guzhinov as well if he's still managed to get to the end of the race, but Starklov has shown just as much pace all throughout the season, and he's mixing it with the top end of the pro category, so that's something the admin team at Formula Racing League will need to take notice of. And you know what, he actually looks a little bit faster than Hyman's at this stage of the race. Big battles going on, big controversy potentially. Nope, Didsbury cleanly allows Stu Rogers through in his, let's call it a dinosaur, as he tries to navigate what must be the worst circuit in the world for that car. As cars up ahead dive into the pit lane, I think we've got Omarov just ahead there, yep, in the Grello Porsche. So easy to pinpoint in that car on circuit. As they dive into the pits. Starkloff still all over the back of Hyman's. Cassier's got past Godefroy. We've seen Godefroy battling up at the front. As Cassier dives into the pits now, that'll be to take his final stop with 30 minutes remaining. Now, just looking at the times that he's been in the pits, Cassier, tonight, he pitted with 1 hour to go and with 30 minutes to go, so this looks like he's taking 2 sets of tyres tonight, as we've got the Tesa and the Aston Martin. Now that looks like a battle there, that looks like done. And we've lost them, unfortunately. We're not going to be able to catch that one. There we go, there's Dunn going round the phase. Cassier's in the pits, and if he's in the pits for more than a couple of seconds, you can assume he's taking tyres tonight. And that is Hyman's also entering the pits. And that will have unleashed Starklov, the Limoncello Ferrari, on its way up into P5 on the circuit. Adam Sharp's just taken the fastest lap of the race, and he's really eaten into the gap between himself and Damien van der Waal. Well, let's get a time of the difference between the two. The gap still 20 seconds between van der Waal and the Bont. So, not over yet, of course. They've got another pit stop to go. What will the drivers elect to do? Morgan Grace now on the back of Cassier after both these guys making their final stops, as Grace plays with the track limits. That's not Cassier, my apologies, that's Caruana, Steve Caruana and Morgan Grace. They're fighting. It's Cassier and Hyman's. What's happened to Hyman? Oh, they're coming at the pits and the order's all jumbled up. So a lot of drivers have... Oh, De Bont's made a mistake, sir. De Bont's in the pits. De Bont's in the pits for his final stop. Van der Waal and Sharp have taken first and second off De Bont. Godefroy goes through, and Starklov, I think, has gone through now as well. Car number 24, Vereth. Jochen Vereth has been off track at turn 4 and picked up a drive-through penalty. Franz Hermann will be absolutely devastated with that one, as he now has to almost effectively end his championship battle. Yannick Gerling still running in P2 overall. That's going to open up for Matty Dunn, who has been playing Tokyo Drift all night tonight. The back end of the Aston Martin looks about as loose as... Nope, we're not going there. It's looking very lively, however, and he's controlled it well, to his credit. Of course, heartbreak for him last time out, involved in an incident which sent him into the wall while battling for the lead. He will now inherit P3. Potentially P2 with Gerling still to pit. As Vera crosses the line, he's got 2 more laps to serve that penalty. Sharp, right on the back of Van der Waal. So this is familiar territory for Van der Waal as he's defending for McLaren. They've done this for the first 12 laps of the race. You know what, I think he's got the McLaren's number into that corner. I don't think they can brake as late as he does. As the sun's back out now to set... The sun's back out to set on the season. I'll get the words out eventually, that's easy for me to say. Sun's out for the end of the season, and we will have a dry race to the end of the season as well. Something the drivers have been frustrated with this season, of course, has been the number of wet races. Formula Racing League does use AccuWeather's weather reporting to set up the weather for the races, so they're based on real weather that you'll get on circuit. But one thing is real just now is these 2 Mustangs once again, Cassier and Prentice, side by side. Cassier and Prentice both made both their pit stops. I wonder what's forced Jack Prentice into that pit, but it's a better exit from Cassier. The forest green looks to be beating the mid green just now. Later on the brakes, and that has resigned Jack Prentice to P13 just now, and they'll fall into the clutches of Stu Rogers just behind. Vereth now jumps into the pit lane to serve that drive-through penalty, and he's going to fall down the order now. But is it enough to allow Matty Dunn and even Trevor Mendes into the action potentially? This Gedman just ahead of Mendes there, so Vereth coming through the pit lane now. We'll look for Matty Dunn. There's Matty Dunn's yellow Aston. It's going to be close as the Aston goes through and takes the position, and that's Vereth down 1 more place. De Vries a little bit too far back to capitalise on that. Up ahead we've got Mendes at 0.5 behind Gedman, and he's pulled along Steve Caruana, who's coming through with a blue flag to help him go round. And this is where the blue flags do get interesting, because that gap looks very small. Mendes skillfully moves out off the racing line in advance to very clearly to show Caruana what his intents are. Now he's going to try and make a jump on Gedman when Gedman does the same, but Morgan Grace just behind might cause that plan to fall short. Down into turn 1, we see it here. This is the Mustang defending from the Lexus, and Rogers is going to desperately try to get that stopped. Good driving from Prentice, who managed to take some avoiding action, leaves the inside free, and it makes 0 contact. Again, very close between the two of them. The Mustang has the inside line. Stu will do very well to get round there. Not really a place that overtaking is on. Brandon Glover now is all over the back of the Bont, as the Glover has been out of nowhere, been lapping so well. He's got himself right on the Bont's heels. The Bont's been running so quick most of the race. We completely forgot about Glover because he's taken 2 early pit stops, and he's just lapped very consistently and quickly. And now he's on the back off the... Well, I mean, we don't know who's going to win now. Car 76, that's a drive-through for track limits. That's Trevor Mendes on the exit to the fast right. And that's going to put him in trouble now to Harris. Harris behind, potentially looking at a P4 on his farewell race here, as Mendes immediately jumps to the pits. Starkov's just let Falsey and Ellie back. That looks like that's Hyman's. He's just let Hyman's through. So, normal situation resumed then for Starkov, looking at the back of that white, purple and yellow Ferrari. Sharp's pitted, Sharp's taken his final stop as well. And he's got some fantastic clean air. He'll be absolutely flying. Could be a master stroke from him. This could go any way yet. Do not go anywhere. Van der Waal, Godefroy, Sharp, De Bont, Glover, all within a chance of winning. Cassier running very well there as well. I think he's just a little bit too far behind. Gerling leading the AM class just now, but still running with one stop to make. Starkov is the de facto net leader with Matty Dunn and Jochen Vereth in the net P3. But the question is, where will Gerling slot into that gap? Speaking of train conductors this evening, Stu Rogers and Jack Prentice have joined locomotives to delay the rest of us. Now, if you see something that you don't like or looks suspicious, please tell someone. Say it, see it, sorted. Another drive-through, car 620, that's Neteza. So we mentioned it earlier on, we'd expect the drive-throughs to come 90 minutes at the Hungaroring. It can happen. As we watch this train go on just now, quick advertisement for the off-season for Formula Racing League coming up in the off-season. On Sunday the 20th of July, that is a week on Sunday, Formula Racing League will be hosting a multi-class race around the circuit of the Americas. Porsche Cup, GT4, and as it stands just now, the BMW M2. As we see there, I think that's Gerling finally coming into the pits. That's Volkmann coming into the pits. My apologies for his final stop now. As I interrupt myself once again, it's getting very difficult to try and keep track of everything that's going on and plug the league as well. But it's multi-class race, Sunday the 20th of July, 3 classes around the circuit of the Americas, and the race format will be the exact same one as we're looking at tonight. 90 minutes, 2 stops, 2 fuel stops, multiple strategies. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic race. It is free to take part. Go to thesimgrid.com and follow Formula Racing League. All sign-up details are available. There is Trotman on the back of Laputov. Laputov, it looks like, sporting some new updates which allows the Lamborghini to run with a heavily damaged front end, as he doesn't look to be looking to repair that. He's taking that one to the end. So 20 minutes remain, 15 minutes off the pit window, so we're going to get some pit stops in the next quarter of an hour. Van der Waal leads by 3.3 to Godefroy. Sharp's completed all his pits. There he is there, running in third with De Bont in fourth. Brandon Glover completed all his stops. He's now fell off the back of De Bont. Tyres maybe going off just a little bit. Tulloch in P6 still to pit, along with Steve Caruana, Morgan Grace and Yannick Gerling, who's leading the Pro-Am category. Cassier is in 10th place, with Rogers yet to pit his final stop in P11. Jack Prentice, aka train conductor, in P12, with fast air behind him. Wouter Heymans is in P14, just tucked on the back of this pack as well, with Starkov completed all his pit stops in the Pro-Am class, so it'll be interesting to see where Gerling slots in comparison. Volkmann in P16, Falcianelli 0.1 behind him, with Matty Dunn 10 seconds further behind in the final podium spot for the Pro-Am class. Vapoli 19th, Vereth 20th, Gedman 21st, Harris 22nd, Laputov 23rd, Paul Trotman 24th. As Adrianov looks to be sliding down the order there, 25th, with DeFaze 26th, Mendes 27th, Omarov 28th. Wood is a couple laps down, P29, with Didsbury and Neteza bringing up the rear. That's an update on where we are just now. Where we're going to be on Tuesday the 22nd, 2 weeks from now, is another drive-through for Laputov this time. Lapidov pushing because Trotman's all over his backside and unfortunately has ran over the track limits and put himself in the pits for a drive-through. There he goes. Yes, 2 weeks on today we'll have Sprint Taco Tuesday in the off-season. We'll have a one-shot qualifying, a 20-minute sprint race, and then race 2 will be the reverse grid order of race 1 results. And in race 2 there's going to be a max stint timer of 35 minutes, forcing at least one run through the pit lane. So if you fancy that, exciting action, a chance to maybe start at the front of the grid if you're not normally up there, or a chance if you're normally at the front of the grid to battle your way through the grid and improve your racecraft. That race will exist on the 22nd of July and we'll be going around Silverstone again. You can go on SimGrid to find out how to sign up for that one. Car 620 off circuit. That is Nateza. He's spun on the third to last corner and he's going to just tickle the barrier. Looks to rejoin. He's going to rejoin behind Wood. So clean rejoin there by Nateza. Not his night this evening. Cassier now on the back of Yannick Gerling. Definitely the faster driver, but will Gerling yield as they come into one of the few overtaking spots on the circuit? The Mustang makes it stick. Cassier goes through up into P9 on the track. 11 minutes remain then, so these drivers at the front have got 11 more minutes to make that pit stop, and the question remains is Van der Waal and Godefroy, will they be going into the pits for a splash and dash, and if so, what position does that put them in relation to the cars around them? It's all to play for here in the finale of Taco Tuesday Formula Racing League, sim racing at its very best. Again, if you are interested in taking part next season, Formula Racing League Patreon members will get to sign up immediately following this race, and of course all members on SimGrid will have the opportunity to sign up following this race as well. We've got a drive-through for Cassier. Cassier in 9th place. He's just picked up that drive-through penalty. He's going to end up moving down the grid. It's an absolute nightmare for the Mustang driver. He's going to move down that order. And it's been such a good race. It's such a shame when you see that happen this late in the day. There's contact there. Hyman's and Prentice. Oh, somebody's attempted a move into that chicane. It's not normally an overtaking position, but Prentice now holding up. Hyman's in faster. That Mustang looks an absolute handful. If you look back, this is on the back of Prentice's car. So high up, the Mustang, you really can't see almost all of the track as Hyman's on the brakes just clips the back off the Mustang. And this is what we're talking about. The cars have different strengths, different weaknesses, and as the car behind, you need to be aware of that. Now, as Hyman gets himself alongside mid-corner, but the speed carried by the Mustang through there is just, by taking a wider line, he was able to carry more speed, and then look at the Mustang to stretch its legs. The Ferrari off Hyman's is so good on the brakes. And what's Starklov doing? A move down the inside of Faster. Starklov looks to try and make moves on Gerling. Maybe he doesn't know Gerling has got one more stop to go. Or maybe he just, there's avoidance action as he tried to avoid the car in front. But it's not over yet. This is a great battle actually for P12 in class between Prentice and Hyman's. Both Formula Racing League veterans, been here around the block quite a few times. They know the script. But will there be a script flip? A little bit further back here, we've got Falsi and Ellie, one of the quicker drivers in FRL. Had not the best luck tonight. Stuck behind Joseph Volkman. Silver license driver Volkman made the jump up to the pro tier this season and run particularly well, considering the license difference. But he's done good, he's held his own tonight. Of course, he would be higher up, he'd be in the top 10, wouldn't he, if he didn't have that drive-through. Oh! That's Falcianelli running, I think, very wide there. That was wild. He's went so wild there, he's a way off catching wild Pokemon. As Cassier's got one more lap to serve that drive-through or he will face a disqualification. Here's that battle then once again. Wouter Hyman's on the back of Prentice. And we see the straight line speed off that Mustang, and Prentice is going to go defensive. Takes the middle off the track. And Hyman's going to use that space given to him on the outside to brake late. He moves over to the inside. Can we expect a dummy? A little switch over to the inside as they approach turn 2. Yes, we can. Hyman's throws it down the inside. Prentice manages to brake a little bit late. Comes off the brake pedal just to make sure he makes that apex before the car ahead. So Godefroy is now closed within a second of the lead. Van der Waal maybe now beginning to struggle as car 620, that's Nateza again, picked up another drive-through penalty for his wild excursions across the track limits. Now Prentice is now costing these guys behind a lot of time. He's taking an entrance line that makes him very slow through the apex, and the cars behind are having to get out off the throttle. And look at that, it's pushed him, Hyman's back into the clutches of Fastar and Starklov, and Starklov's getting itchy pedals back there. He wants to keep going, he knows he's got a car ahead of in class, he wants the win here, but he doesn't need to battle these guys, it's not his fight. Gilling's got one more stop to go and he has to do it in the next 5 minutes, along with Van der Waal, Godefroy. The gap's now 0.5 between those guys. We're going to stick with this battle here. It's a fantastic exit from the Ferrari of Hyman's, but is it enough? We've seen the Mustang fly and also look further back. Fastar's going defensive from Starklov. Starklov just to hang it round the outside. He's still alongside is the Limoncello car. And that's the trick with that corner. It's not easy to go round the outside on the exit as they come around that turn 2 now. And somehow they're still in the same position as they were. But Van der Waal's pitted. Where is the Bond in the 420 car? He's coming round the final corner now. We're sticking with this battle. Just we've got on screen Hyman's runs it wide. Prentice again is going to go slightly defensive. Car 14 has cut track limits. Now here he comes out of the pits. Has it been enough? No, it's not. The Bont goes through with Sharp. Sharp's just ahead of the Bont. Sharp's pitted and came out ahead. The question is now, what can Jeffrey Godefroy do? Can Godefroy manage to get himself out in front of this leading pack? It's all to play for. It's not over yet. But Van der Waal will be heartbroken seeing those two jump out just in front of him. This pack still battering close as well round the penultimate turn. 8 minutes 50 seconds remain. They've got 3 minutes left for the cars yet to pit to make that final stop. Now Morgan Grace is sitting in the pits. He's got a drive-through and one stop to do. He needs to be very careful. Yellow flags out there for car 123. Defensive from Jack Prentice. As Starklov takes his final stop. Starklov's gone. Where's Starklov gone? What's happened to Starklov? No. Starklov's fell off the back of this pack. Don't know what's happened there. The Bont point 2 behind Sharp in front as well. It's action all over the place. There's no way we can follow this to the end and keeping you in touch with every single driver. But we'll do our best. As Hyman's only 2 tenths now behind Jack Prentice, 3 tenths, the gap a little bit more. Morgan Grace served that drive-through. He's got to pit one more time. It's not went well for the man from the Valleys. As again, once more, Hyman's takes to the inside line on the chicane. He's got a little switchback going. He's got himself the inside line through the switchback. There's going to be a little bit of contact between the two as they battle for the racing line. And there's a rear end there from Jack Prentice. And Hyman just kept the position, and that's knocked Sharp. Sorry, that's knocked. I'll get the words out eventually. It's put Faster in the back off to Grace, and a little bit again. He goes late, slings it round the outside. There's the sign, the barrier's in our way. We can't see what's happened. Move your camera, sir. As Prentice has somehow retained the position. He's still out there in P10, and this is what I was referring to earlier on. The man is an absolute pain in the backside to try and get around. As Morgan Grace finally pits to get his final stop out of the way, and once again we are treated to this battle down into turn 1. As Grace Prentice once again takes the middle of the track. Attempt to go round the outside again from Hyman's. It doesn't work, unfortunately, and that opens the inside for defending from Jack Prentice, and there's no way round the outside of turn 2. It's just not a possible move. But what you can do is open up the exit and get a great run down into turn 4. And Hyman goes sideways and Fastar spins. Fastar has now been detached from this battle, and one person who could get involved is Chris Gedman, who is just in front of that pack. But the camera has quickly turned now to the battle between the Bont and Sharp, with Godefroy also leaving the pits at the same time. Where's Godefroy? I don't know what's happening. It says these two are the leaders, so I think they've got out in front of Godefroy. They have indeed. Sharp leads. The Bont is 3 tenths off a second, just tucked in behind. This one's going to the absolute wire. Jack Prentice still holds these 3 up as Cassier moves off the circuit again, throwing all kinds of shapes. He wants to get back in front. He was running so well. Starklov is out of the pits, 6 seconds ahead of Yannick Gerling. The Bont and Sharp still side by side. This is absolutely frantic stuff.
Pit window is now closed.
The pit window slams shut. Stu Rogers just gets in on time. Cars leaving the pit lane. They need to be very careful coming down to turn 1. As he slings it down the inside, does Hyman's. And there's contact between the two. And that's now cost Jack Prentice a position to Cassier. And Van der Waals picked up a drive-through. Oh no. Oh, it's all coming to a head here. The climax of the season. Just because it's the finale and things are getting wrapped up, it doesn't mean it's any less exciting. This really has been one of the best sim races I've ever commentated on. It's been wall-to-wall action all night. It could have went either way. It still could go either way. The gap at the front is 4 tenths off a second. Sharp leads the Bont. Van der Waal in P3 with that drive-through. Godefroy is going to inherit that P3, and Glover might get a 4th place for his efforts tonight. Tulloch and Caruana continue their battle from the FRL Late Night Thursday World Tour, where they're battering hard for the Nations Cup as well. But Caruana's done a great job after that spin in the first lap to get himself back to where he is. And just behind there we've got an Aston Martin of Mendes defending. I think that is from Gedman. Gedman is side by side with Mendes, and Gedman throws it down the inside. Now that one could be contentious and potentially some good spicy conversation in the steward's room. Try for one, can't wait to see that one. The battle's all up and down the grid tonight. But this is the battle for the lead of the race. Who will take the final podium, the final win of the season 18 of Formula Racing League's Tackle Tuesday. Live as always here on Formula Racing League TV. Prentice and Hymans, this one's a pressure cooker. The pressure's been building for laps now. The straight line speed of Prentice has frustrated the Ferrari of Hymans, but then once again the wild horses in the bonnet of that, let's be honest, it's about the same size of a stable, has kept Prentice just ahead. But once again Prentice has to go defensive into that chicane, and into turn one. The Bont's got out of the apex. The cameraman does not know where to look next. It's absolutely frantic here. And one day I will be able to recapture my breath as once again the Bont throws all kinds of shapes behind Adam Sharp. Sharp's had a mistake coming out of turn 4. Surely he's not going to go up the inside of turn 4. Oh, he doesn't. He backs out. Thankfully for the neutral point of view, it's once again defensive lines from Adam Sharp as they now approach the lapped car of Omarov in the Grello Porsche. This is absolutely madness. I cannot take my eyes away. I don't know where to look, and I can't look all at the same time. Car 620's picked up another drive-through penalty. At the end of this one, we're going to see the car's moving. Omarov does a fantastic job, gets out of the way, doesn't interfere in this battle whatsoever. That's fantastic. Blue flag etiquette and a lesson for all others involved. Once again, Jack Prentice holds on to that position. Hymans is all over the back of him. We're into 1 minute left of the race. This is the penultimate lap. And look at the mid-corner speed from the Bont as Sharp accelerates away. He's going to move over to the right immediately to try and break that toe. He doesn't actually. He keeps it in a straight line as the Bont swings to the side. Now both of these guys driving the same car, so there's no car weakness or advantages. And once again, look at these three now as well. The battle for P6 is heating up. Tulloch, Caruana and Cassier all battling tough. And just behind we've also got Prentice there as well. Up at the front, the Bont is still behind Sharp. These guys have got a bit longer to come through, unfortunately. Van der Waals going to rejoin in P5, so unfortunately for him, Glover's going to go through. Tulloch looks like he's in trouble. Coming round the penultimate corner, as does Caruana, as Cassier's absolutely flying just now. Up through the gears they go. The Mustang just stretches his legs at the front, but look at Cassier putting the moves on Caruana. We've seen the Ferrari of Hymans defend and go deep into there, and there's contact as Caruana has a big smash into the side of him from Cassier. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that one. Hymans once again able to defend, not able to get past the highly defensive Jack Prentice. But into the final lap of the race now. These are the leaders. This is the premium series of Formula Racing League in the premium tier. And around the final corner now, after 90 minutes of hard racing, nothing to separate these two as they attack the line, and it's Adam Sharp who takes the win with the Bont only 2 tenths behind. Godefroy will take a podium position. Glover's going to come through and take fourth with Van der Waal on commiserations in P5. But this is the battle for 6th place as we've got these three, Tulloch, Cassier and Caruana. Dunn secures P3 in the Pro-Am tier. Congratulations to Matty Dunn, as they've got a returning to the track Didsbury in front of the Mustang, as both cars are going to try and go through. The Ferrari does extremely well to get out of the way there. And the blue flags once again interfering unintentionally in this fantastic race as Caruana is throwing all kinds of shapes, tries to open up the exit to give himself a good line into the final corner. There's not long left to go now. It's almost over. And it's going to be Tulloch leads Cassier, leads Caruana through the final corner. And again, look at this, they're side by side. And Hyman's takes it at the death, 21 milliseconds, with Starklov winning the championship, at least provisionally, in the Pro-Am tier. Congratulations to Starklov. Yannick Gerling takes second in class. My voice can finally break again as Rogers comes round the final corner just ahead of Falcianelli to complete P13 and 14. Volkmann just misses the parked car on the start-finish straight, and Morgan Grace, who's not had the best time tonight, comes home in P18. Wow. I am going to get absolutely slated by my fiancée in the other room for the volume I have been making tonight. What a race. So I'm going to save that replay. And I'm going to save the highlights, and we're going to have those on while we have our finale just there. We're going to take a moment just to compose ourselves, as that was an absolutely insane, incredible, frantic, I don't know what you want to call that race. It was absolutely brilliant. Some of the finest driving I've ever seen, and the closest finish to any Taco Tuesday race, especially a 90-minute special. Absolutely nothing to separate the two. Adam Sharp breaks his duck off fourth places and finally finishes on the top step off the podium on the last race of the season. It was unlucky from De Bont. The man clearly had the pace tonight, but wasn't able to find a way past first Sharp and then Van der Waal. Jeffrey Godefroy inherited P3 from a penalty from Damien Van der Waal there. Brandon Glover 4th, Van der Waal 5th as mentioned. Close stuff between Tulloch, Cassier and Caruana, 6th, 7th and 8th. Hyman's P9, Jack Prentice in P10. Starklov, a fantastic win and provisional championship taking drive from himself in the Limoncello Ferrari. Chris Faster, P12, Yannick Gerling secures a podium in the Pro-Am tier. Stu Rogers, P14 in the Museum Relic. Falcianelli in the P15, Joseph Volkmann P16, Fapoli 17th, Morgan Grace 18th, Matty Dunn 19th on the road, 3rd in class. Jochen Vereth, commiserations for losing out on the championship in the finale, finishes P4 after a drive-through for track limits. Owen Harris, a fantastic last outing, at least for some time with Formula Racing League, finishes in P5. Respectable from the Sky McLaren. Paul Trotman in P6 behind him. Trevor Mendez, Adrianov, DeFaze. Chris Gedman on the back foot from the start after being out of position. Lapitov 27th, Omarov 28th, Wood 29th, Didsbury 30th, Neteza 31st, Guzhinov and the Bomb unfortunately, and Luke Prentice, with Jamie Crabb unable to finish the race tonight. So that's been the race. Let's see if I can get a quick interview maybe from any driver. See if anyone does jump in very shortly. But while we're waiting on some drivers to jump in, let's have a quick chat very briefly about Taco Tuesday Season 19. Actually, I'm going to put the highlights on so you can see. Oh, we do have someone indeed. We've got a rare commentator joining the party. Greg Wood, how are you?
Deflated. Absolutely deflated. Not sure if you caught any of my my ballerina moments, but yeah, it was not easy tonight. I tried to do what I could with the setup. I just had no pace for where I'm not usually used to. the first stop actually did stop me in a reasonable amount of like good space, and then I had a bit of a, as Owen would call it, a Greg moment. And I, for some reason, even though I'd been braking in the right spot every single time for turn one, I broke it to the top of the curbing, not where the tyre marks are. So I went deep, gave all the time up after my first stop in the nice little gap I'd made for myself. Ended up back in the battle that I was in. Had a bit of an incident that I am still yet to review. I got caught behind a car, tried to overtake them, and then we both went side by side into turn 4, which obviously most people would consider non-advisable. So yeah, that was tough. And then later on, I was also surviving in the second half of the race with 3 track limit warnings. So
yeah, it doesn't help, does it?
No, and then all of those were at turn 9, and then both of my spins were at, between turn 3 and turn 4. So got severe damage on both occasions. But yeah, I mean, I soldiered on. I wanted to classify. I didn't want to go completely down and out on that matter. But one thing I can say, obviously with all the discussions this week regarding obviously trying to merge these tiers and trying to make it all work well with blue flags, etc. Do you know what? I think that element of it actually went quite well.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. From what I've seen, when the riot act was read earlier on, it looks like everyone kind of followed the instructions relatively well. The ones who didn't wasn't like catastrophic.
I'm sure that Gedman guy didn't do very good tonight with that whole blue flag thing, did he?
He had a very good start, didn't he?
This is the first time I've ever in the whole of my racing with FRL that I've had a drive-through right at the start of the race.
You know what? As long as it's the last one, you've got nothing to worry about.
Honest to God, if I can't believe it happened. I just can't believe it. Other than that,
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I thought I was gonna join you because I think I just marginally crept it back onto the green as the green flag was waved.
Oh, for some reason, I done the thing where you regulate up to about kind of 42 miles per hour, and then I went to touch my brake, and I flicked my right foot instead of my left foot, and accelerated to 46 miles per hour, just as it went green.
Well, I need to give you that. That's impressive.
Just ridiculous. But other than that, it just sent me back. I could have probably done a hell of a lot better tonight if I didn't do that.
I need to have a long, hard look at myself after tonight, because amongst the other commentary duo, me and Owen, unfortunately, I got lapped by him tonight. I'll hold my hands up now. It hurt. I was civil, but it hurt
My
nonetheless.
least driven track.
Well, that's it. He's now officially better than you.
I've beaten you across 2 seasons in 2 different cars. When are you going to change car, Greg? Because you're clearly in the wrong car, as I told you.
For this track, I definitely am. The Lamborghini, the off-camber nature of this track, I didn't feel lent to the Lamborghini's strengths. I was actually alright in the first sector, but the middle sector with the slow second gear corners, it was, oh my god, just no, didn't like it. I barely stayed in the 46s for most of the race, and when I got that damage with 25 minutes left, I was just 2 seconds a lap slower right until the end, just trying to avoid track limit violations.
So here's one. I've got a question for you. What TC level did you run?
6, as instructed.
How did it feel?
Oh, there you go.
Not that much different. Then again, I felt so slow in the practice and qualifying. I actually jumped onto a different setup that I just quickly downloaded, which did seem a bit more on the planted side, but I had no pace.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I think we should give a little bit of a moment to Mr. Harris, who likely, I think, maybe his last race with us for quite some time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know, maybe if you wave a certain track I may attend, but you know, I can't have
We're seeing
7 rounds of Silverstone.
We'll see a fortnight on Tuesday then, as we go to Silverstone for the off season.
Maybe. I don't know yet. We'll
Maybe.
see. But
Right,
I mean,
okay,
yeah, I'm surprised tonight it only took me 82 minutes to finally get too aggressive on the inside curve and have a little whoopsie, but I'll take that. I think P5, I think I did manage to lap Greg, so I'll take that. On
Yep,
my least driven track.
Yep, and to quote Greg, absolutely. We will. I mean, I'll be honest with you, you got a bit of screen time tonight. You'll be glad to see that.
Did you see the good bits or the bad bits?
It looked okay. You were battling quite hard. You were battling, I think it was Lapitov for quite some time.
Yep.
It looked like a good little battle, bit of yo-yoing back and forward. In case you guys weren't aware of the narrative of the race, I'll give you a bit of context. So Van der Waal took the Bon into turn 1, and then they went basically bumper to bumper for the entire first half hour of the race. Sharp and Godefroy and Glover just behind. Glover took 2 pit stops back to back. Got himself immediately behind the Bon after the Bon completed his 2 pit stops. Van der Waal took a splash and dash, a tyre stop and then a splash and dash, and would have been up at the front battling for the podium, at least the top 3, within a couple of seconds if he hadn't got a drive through in the last couple of minutes. And Adam Sharp just pipped the Bon out of the pits, and they were, the gap they finished, point 2 was about the gap they were for the last 15 minutes of the race. It was incredible to watch. And then we had, I'm sure you heard a lot of it in your earpiece, Chris. You had Caruana and Rogers having a good ding dong, and then you had Caruana, what's his name? Tulloch, sorry. Caruana, Tulloch and Cassier having a fantastic battle in the final few minutes. And you had Jack Prentice and Hymans, who's on the screen just now, battling for that many laps, 36 laps almost. Like you just watched them now. Yeah, from lap 36 to the end, they were pretty much like this the whole way. It was almost impossible to try and find out who to watch at any one time. So I do hope you ever watch back. It's a very entertaining race. If you are interested, all the Super Sprint Sunday is up. So Greg, if you want to go and secure your slot.
I thought you were going to say to go and view the results. I'm thinking, oh damn.
As this is in replay mode, can I make a request as it's on the big screen as a farewell gift?
Yes, go on then.
Can we jump on board with me for lap 5?
Yes. Once you find your
Just gone
cursed
past
car.
me. 777, I am.
That's fine. I was going to go a whole time again because I got my keyboard out and I'm using the shortcut. There he is.
Oh. No.
There he is.
Yeah, lap 5.
Oh no, only was lap 10.
Oh.
Heartbreak.
Oh,
I think I probably made the move of the absolute season there as well.
Oh, I've only got to lap 5. It didn't work, unfortunately.
Well, I've got it saved. You can submit it later.
Yeah, you can have a look at
Oh,
it
I
later.
definitely saved it.
Have a look at it later. So yeah, it was very interesting from my point of view. I don't know how you guys seen it from your point of views. It was like, oh, probably shouldn't have showed that on stream. Yeah. Oh no, he's spinning. He's stuck. Got it.
Admit,
yeah.
It's one to forget for me, unfortunately. But racing drivers got to have a short-term memories, and I think I need to have a bit of an adventure into a different seat.
You know what? Try it. I did it. I came back, and I found it so much better once I came back. So give it a bash. I personally recommend the Bentley. You'll drive it completely differently, and you'll learn different techniques, and then you'll jump back into the Lambo.
My next step and the next test I'm doing in actual races with an Aston Martin.
Good choice. Nice. It's very easy to learn how to drive and easy to set up. So
it's just got tinfoil spoons for brakes.
Nah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. A lot of people using the Aston this season. The guy, I can't remember his name, Guzzinov, I think his name was. drove that Aston Martin expertly all season. Unlucky with his connection. Otherwise, he'd be up there fighting with Starclaw for most of the season. So it's definitely a car worth trying.
Talking about Aston Martins, and a lovely wee battle with Mendes tonight in the last few laps.
Oh yes.
Just
Talk us through it.
Bangs, good hard racing, and then unfortunately taken out with a car, three cars back. Won't name names, what time, what lap it was.
Don't worry, Chris, we'll watch it.
From lap 47 onwards.
Once you find your car, there's Mendes, that'll do it.
There's this menacing Aston.
What's that, 47?
Lap 47.
Where are you?
I was just ahead.
There you
of
go. Now, keep an eye on this then just now.
Lap 47. 47.
Oh, it's the year.
Aye, so it's lap 47 it went from.
That's not a battle.
Hang on. Is it lap
It
46?
depends on you from here.
That was
it's
a lap
amazing.
behind, sorry, lap 46. Apologies. Nope.
You're having a senior moment there, Gavin.
Dale's
I think he
telling me
is.
it's lap 46 here, it's not.
Dale's drunk.
He's on lap 46 and it's not.
All the numbers are the same.
Chris, there you there, mate. It's lap 49, lap 50.
Is that far back?
Oh, you're going to prison for that.
No, so
That's definitely moving on the brake.
it's definitely before this. I've just been watching.
Those elbows were sharpened.
Yeah, I'll refrain from judgment while watching. I'll enjoy it instead. Right. So, just a quick update for you guys then. Super Sprint Sunday, season 19, is being released to the general SimGrid population now. Greg, I don't want to confirm anything, but I might have found you a partner for next season.
Lovely.
It's not me.
Ooh.
Well, I bet you thought it was. It's not me. So, yeah, I've been doing work in the background. Chris doesn't even know yet. I need to ask Chris first.
No, and no.
Right, okay, there's that one sorted. I'm sure the other person will be extremely happy. I'm only joking.
Yes,
Only joking.
whatever it
We're
is.
only joking. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But there's a potential trial run happening in the off season. But Sunday is now up on SimGrid. Taco Tuesday has been released to the Patreon supporters. Oh!
Ooh.
See,
I'm glad
Okay.
that Barry had
that's the
blurred
last
that out.
lap. Right, that's,
Saved someone's blushes there.
That's about the 50th time I've interrupted myself tonight. Trying to plug the league and something happens. It's just rude.
So inconsiderate.
Oh, he's tagged by the Bentley. Just, oh,
He missed his
Christopher,
bacon.
you're dead.
I died.
I was left for dead.
Oh dear. Right, okay. So everything's up now for next season. We've got the off-season events coming up as well. If you fancy a bit of the sprint action, Greg, you can take part on the Tuesday night. I know you've been watching it for the past several seasons. That's 2 weeks today. That happens.
Do you know what? I usually consider myself quite a decent start of a race. So actually, not having the opportunity to mess it all up in the latest stages might actually do me well.
Yeah, well, all the information's up there, and I'm sure you're aware. You've been here a while, you know you'll be around the block as Chris's car no longer turns into the final corner.
2 corners to go and I limped
Yeah.
over the line, so.
Yep, so that's all up there now. We've concluded the season. We need to get a couple to confirm the championship order, but I'm pretty sure that Damien van der Waal has one pro. I think he has a big drop round to take anyway, which almost guarantees it. I think Starklov has one pro-am. Again,
Right,
his drop
okay.
round was a P4, I think, so he's pretty much guaranteed that win as well this tonight anyway. But he won, so it's fine. And then I think Silver's up in there. I have no idea. I need to find out what's happened to Silver.
It's tight, very tight. Big grid.
Yeah, could be anyone.
Yes.
So we'll leave it with that. We'll leave the potential classification for the title there on the air. I'm going to end the stream just now, but listen, thank you guys very much for joining me tonight. It's been a pleasure bringing the series to you guys this season, and I'm glad that we've been able to broadcast every single tier we've had. So thank you very much everyone for watching, and until next time, take care. Good night.